Welcome to the Make Me Whole podcast. I'm your host, Josette Rosado, and it's time to talk getting past what's difficult, trusting our own abilities to do more, and keeping it that way. On Saturday, May 14th, news reported that a single man entered Tops Supermarket in Buffalo, New York, and opened fire, killing 10 individuals and injuring 3 others. Upon investigation, authorities found out that he had driven 200 miles and had planned this attack more than several months ago. His attack was recorded on Twitch, and he posted a 180-page document online, which cited replacement theory, which is the notion of immigration invasion or fear of white genocide in America. The FBI is now investigating it as a hate crime, and the assailant has pled not guilty. I wish I could say that this was a unique situation, something we've not really experienced, but it's not. In 2019, a man drove to a Walmart in El Paso, Texas, and shot and killed 22 individuals, later telling police that he was targeting Mexicans. And one that hits close to home was in 2015, when Dylan Roof arrived at Emmanuel African Methodist Episcopal Church and shot 7 churchgoers who had welcomed him in, had an hour's worth of Bible study before he opened fire on them. So these to me are truly tragedies, and they affect our community in so many different ways. It's important to talk about them because we have to be able to cope with the shock, with the pain, with the exhaustion of what racial trauma has done to us as a whole community here in the United States. Racial trauma or race-based trauma comes from exposure to racist abuse or discrimination, and it really tears away at self-worth. So a lot of times leading to depression, anxiety, chronic stress, high blood pressure, substance abuse, PTSD, negative thoughts, mood changes, you name it. You don't need to experience racism firsthand or feel traumatized or for your mental health to suffer. The fact that we now have so many social media outlets which give us firsthand accounts of exactly what other people are going through in ways that we never have seen before and seem to be increasing despite what so many believe to be untrue. And the tension that we're feeling as a community has increased significantly over the last 3 years. Whether you've experienced blatant racist attacks or dealt with microaggressions, it's really normal to feel upset, angry, even hopeless. And a lot of times we just want to close ourselves away from those experiences and maybe pretend like they haven't happened. But if you keep those painful feelings to yourself, it's going to only make them larger. So here I am speaking out loud and just thinking about how angry I am that this continues to happen in our society, a society that I've committed to healing, to working with, to supporting. I walked into a supermarket even today and wondered, how is it that we can feel safe if we don't know the intentions of those around us? If there are people who are eager and intense about their hatred towards people of other races. I just can't wrap my head around that. And it makes me sad because I know that I wanted to leave this world in a better place, as did those who came before me. I don't want my brown-skinned daughters to have to worry that they won't be valued for who they are, but rather be judged for the color of their skin, and perpetually live in a place where they'd have to be questioned as to their value and fight harder for the world to understand exactly who they are and what they're capable of. But I haven't fought so hard to be who I am or where I am by being angry. And I truly believe that I need to be about solutions. And here are some of the things I think will help us individually, even if for the moment they don't bring complete change. The first thing that you need to do, honestly, is share your experiences with others. Talking to people about your experiences will make them less intense. When you acknowledge and express all the different feelings that you're having, it can help you not be overwhelmed and better able to cope with those kinds of emotions when we're dealing with this type of aggression. We have to know that racism is used as something to devalue us as human beings and lower our self-esteem. And we can fight that by developing strong senses of our ethnic identities and embracing our heritages. We have to educate ourselves by learning the history of the culture that we're part of and the people who came before us. Because the more information that you have, the more value you bring to the conversations and the debates with those who are ignorant to what we're all about. You also have to give back and go into your community, see where you are needed. Who are the people that would benefit from your expertise? There are too many areas where Black and brown people, educated people, aren't represented enough. We need to go back in and strengthen our communities so that we have more of a say as to what happens next. I know these are only small steps and you might still be angry, but I have to remember what my grandmother told me about anger. Don't let your enemy know that you're angry. Don't let anyone come for you in ways that you can't control. So if that's what's going on for you, channel your anger, because getting angry in an uncontrollable way, you take the chance in making an already bad situation worse. No matter how much your anger is justified, acting in an impulsive way is going to stop your chances of being heard. And more than any time ever, we need to be heard. But I'm not saying be quiet. I'm not saying suppress your anger, because that too can have a negative impact on your mental health. The idea is to channel that anger and do it in constructive ways that will turn into meaningful change and understanding. I don't think that any of us have this situation figured out in our heads, but what I do know is that I've worked too hard, as have so many of you, to get where I am right now, to earn the respect of those around me. And I don't plan on going backwards anytime soon. I'm honestly not here to tell you what the right solution is, because I don't have a clue as to what that would be. What I do know is that this young man, despite what he did, he didn't come up with those ideas by himself. And someone missed an opportunity to show him the right path, a path to kindness and understanding. This wonderful country of ours is both good and bad, selfish and selfless. And one thing I think we've learned so distinctly is that we're not going to agree on everything. Everyone is entitled to their own thoughts and feelings. It's when you can't sit down with someone and discuss it, when it turns to violence or aggression or the humiliation of one group against the other. Yeah, I can't understand that. Maybe it's idealistic, but I believe that with the one conversation, you can lead to so many others. One change in one person can change a whole community. One positive intervention on something that seems completely destroyed can make all the change. I used to work in a program where the kids who were dropped off were pretty much at the end of their academic career. They either had to make it or they were going to be put out of the school completely. And I can proudly say that 2 young African American males that I had the privilege of working with several years ago just invited me to their graduation. And they'll be graduating with their heads held high, knowing that they were given that support, that chance to beat all the statistics, to be better than the people who came before them, to take advantage of those positives around them. It just makes me believe that we as people have resolve, and nothing can crush love or good intention. So I'm putting a challenge out there to all of you. Are you ready to take the stand and speak up for the things that aren't right? Give as much publicity and attention to the wrongdoings of those around us. Prevent those people who would be out to harm us. While the world has people like the shooter in Buffalo or in El Paso or in Charleston, no one is safe. So we have to do what we can to make a difference, to make it right, to bring ourselves to peace and drive out those forces that are here to destroy us. Thank you so much for your continued support and listening to the podcasts. Welcome to all my new subscribers. You won't regret being here. Don't forget to reach out to me on email at makemewhole@bossesofbliss.com. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Bosses of Bliss and on TikTok at Blissful Boss. Remember, complain less and do more. I'll see you next time.